All right. We are keeping this moving right along. Put your hands together for Stan Goldberg. Let me hear it, guys.
Good evening. So you came here to see Long Island's up-and-coming young comics. Here I am. I recently turned 73. It's the oldest I've ever been, and frankly, I'm not coping very well. I went into midlife crisis. But my wife said to me, "You're too old for midlife crisis. You're chronologically ineligible, so cut the crap." Well, there does come a time when you have to accept that you're on the far side of the hill, and it's time to pursue your bucket list before you kick the bucket. So the first thing on my bucket list was to do stand-up comedy. This is a very good activity for me because there's only a 5-minute window when I can't use the men's room. So at 69, which for me was merely an age and no longer an interpersonal experience, I began to do stand-up in front of much younger audiences who thought I belonged in a nursing home by now in diapers. It's not easy to be a rookie comedian at my age. Nobody wants to hear me talk about drugs or dating or sex. I don't do drugs unless they come from CVS. The only thing I inhale is my CPAP machine. I'm not on any of the dating sites, and for me, ghosting is when a friend dies. Sex for me is a series of one-night stands with my wife, once a month, once every other month. Frankly, it's hard to keep track because oftentimes when she goes to brush her teeth, I fall asleep for the night. And in the morning, she says, "I was ready, willing, and able. You were asleep. It counts anyway." So the first time that happened, I said, "Well, why didn't you wake me up?" She said, "Why would I do that? That was a win-win for me." So when we do actually do it, she's very accommodating. She turns the sound off of her Hallmark movie and just watches with closed captioning. If we time it perfectly, and there are 3 commercials in a row, she doesn't even have to miss anything. I decided that I had to spice things up. So I went online and bought a shitload of sex toys. I'm like, this is gonna be great. This is gonna be a game changer. Well, the toys come in. She takes one look. She says, "Are you out of your mind? Those things are not touching my body." Well, it wasn't a total loss because I found out that a lot of the toys work well on solo males. I've gone through more batteries lately than the ever-ready button. So the second thing on my bucket list was to start smoking marijuana again. I missed it. I was high for my first 2 weeks of law school, and as a result, I never quite grasped some of the basic concepts of constitutional law. It appears that the current justices of the Supreme Court have the same problem. I can't smoke the weed they sell today. It's too strong, I'll have a heart attack. I need the weed that's left over from the 70s and the 80s, but I can't find a dispensary that sells antique marijuana. Gummies are out of the question because they remind me of Swedish fish and I'll eat the whole pack. They actually have cannabis that you can use by suppository. For those who don't know what that is, that's where you take a capsule and stick it up your butt. Now, I find the concept of getting high through my ass to be gross, but at the same time intriguing. I mean, how does it get from your ass to your brain? And what does it pass through to get there? But I'm thinking that if I do it that way, at least I'll have an answer when my wife constantly asks me, "Why do you have shit for brains?" So people my age don't like to say this, but I think my time is up. Thank you for listening and have a great night.